welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, your weekly podcast where we talk all things Warhammer and hobby from the past week. This week we look forward to the second half of 2024 and what's to come for all the Warhammer game systems, and make some predictions too. We've got our hobby updates and the return after a couple of weeks out to Warhammer 20 questions. I am one of your hosts, Wargamingluke, but joining me this week, they're back from the grasps of Nurgle last week, my two amazing co-hosts. First up, we have Ben, aka 90% Geek, and his cat, the Fool of a Took.
Yes, Pippin, the Fool of a Took,
Yes.
who has decided that now is the time that he wants to cuddle. Yes, hello, I am mostly recovered. Apologies if I cough a little bit during this, but I am mostly recovered. And it's good to be back. It's a good week to be back as well.
It is indeed. So, sadly, in the UK, it's one of those weeks where we're coming into our summer, but it just doesn't seem to know what it wants to do, so everybody's falling ill again. But we'll also have with me Simon, aka Hobby Waffle. How we doing, buddy? Good to see you back as well.
Yeah, good, thanks. Good to be back because it's 2 weeks for me that I've been away. So, 10th of Nurgle last week and then holiday the week before. So, yeah, it's nice to finally be back.
That's it, mate. That's it. And we've got an awesome guest joining us this week. We've got Jordan, aka Jordan Sorcery. How are we doing, bud?
Hi, yes, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it should
Looking
be
forward
awesome.
to
Man.
this.
It will be good, indeed. We also always ask Jordan the same question to every new guest that we have come on the podcast. Just a bit of a fun opening thing for you, which is if you were to be abandoned or deserted on a desert island, and you had we were able to take with you a single kit or box set. Can be Warhammer, can be anything really. You get all your tools and your hobby accessories to go with it. What would you choose that to be?
So I was thinking about this, and I don't know if this tests the limits of the rules or not. So you'll have to restrain me if it's
There's very little rules on this, Jordan. I'll be honest. But
I'm assuming other people will have said this because it feels very obvious to me. But I would go for Warhammer Quest. It's the original 95.
I think we've had similar suggestions, but that's
because
a cool one.
That is infinite replayability. It's an amazing game. You've just got so many options, so many different dungeons to crawl. So I think that's the perfect desert island companion, really.
And if you ever get rescued, by the time you get rescued, that set might be worth even more than it is now.
Yeah.
You get rescued. The expansion set's available yet. Just tell me you brought Lair of the Orc Lord with you.
Yeah, indeed. No, that's a cool one. I don't think we have had that one, so that's a good one. Cheers to that, George. But before we get into some hobby updates this week, just off the top here, if you're watching us on YouTube, please do throw a like on the video, leave those comments down below, and of course, make sure you subscribe to us for future episodes. We're weekly. So usually on a Tuesday we release, so make sure that your notifications are on so that you know when the new episodes drop. Also follow us over on Spotify. If you want audio only episodes, we're over there as well. You can enjoy us there. And last of all, please do join us over on the Discord channel. Join in with the conversation in between episodes. We're always over there having some good chat, sharing our hobby updates and whatnot. And Jordan's just jumped in there as well, so I'm sure Jordan will be able to share some bits and bobs. Especially as we're doing hobby updates this week, that might be quite good. But following up from that, I think we will go into some hobby updates. We've not had it for a couple of weeks, so there's lots we can cover. But Jord, I think we usually go with the sort of guest that we have on first.
Yep.
So yes, that's it. What have you been up to sort of recently, I suppose, projects on the table, if you have any, maybe you've been reading into some books for recent videos, I don't know. Let us know what you've been up to.
Sure, yeah. So, well, I mean, in terms of on the painting deck, which is a place that I fear to tread. So I'm both a terrible painter and a reluctant painter. So one of my longer projects is trying to build a bit more skill and a bit more motivation. And I'm doing that through this big Marienburg army project that I'm undertaking. But it's been a lot of fun. And I've got some stuff done, and I've had some help. But at the moment, I'm working on some of Lumping Kroup's Halfling Archers.
Yay!
So yeah, it's just a classic kit. Absolutely love them. And trying to do that. I'm definitely not going to do them justice, but I'm just trying to put some paint on them and make them look reasonably okay. So I'm not too. I don't ruin them too much. But in terms of painting, that's kind of the big thing I'm working on at the moment. And then reading, yeah, always reading all sorts of stuff. I've been jumping back into a bit of Rogue Trader and second edition 40k at the moment, just for a video I'm working on right now, which has been a lot of fun. And then
Oh,
Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff to sort of keep reading and exploring. So that's where my hobby time's mostly been spent.
How Ben, are you in a different room and you can still lean back and point at the right publication?
My house is just a lair of geekdom. It's entirely possible. You know, we could have been in the other room over there. I
just had visions of you like shoving the bookcase in before the podcast started, so you could just go that one.
No. This is the geek case. This is where all like the role playing games and the comic books and stuff get stored.
Is that some Vampire the Masquerade I see behind you?
That is. There's two versions of Vampire there. I've got the second edition, and I've got the God, my words aren't working. The World of Darkness edition that was released. So Vampire the Requiem. I've got both versions of that. I'm a huge fan of the kind of old White Wolf role playing games.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Simon, you took the thoughts right out of my head. I was thought the exact same thing when he pointed at it.
I'm impressed. I've got to say.
Yeah, on the subject of lumping croup, because it's an older school, but I've been painting some lumping croup for my Empire army, because getting the hands on the halfling miniatures for a 5th edition Empire army is otherwise somewhat tricky. Because they are older metal models, they take contrast paint really well, is one of the things I found.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to use two thin coats for this.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it as just restricted just to the two thin coats range to see if it was like a different feel, because I've traditionally only used Citadel color pretty much exclusively, like my entire hobby career. I'm very I'm not well traveled when it comes to hobby skills and sort of paints and stuff, but I recently was given some of those, so yeah, I'm trying to explore that and sort of test it out. But that's good to know that some of those older ones, the contrast still is effective on like the older sculpts and stuff.
The old metal models, it drinks up the paint really nicely.
Two thin paints are good. I know Si, you like them as well, but I really do recommend to anybody.
That's my main range now.
If you're always worried that your current paints that you use aren't ready for you, try different things, because honestly, it's amazing how it can really open you up to something new.
It's changed my paint.
Exactly. So definitely worth recommending.
I do want to get my hands on some of Peachy's new skin tone paints, because I've been eyeing those up and looking at my Dark Oath models and kind of going, those look absolutely perfect for barbarian skin.
Yes, indeed. But thanks, George, for those your updates for your hobbying recently. Si, let's keep going around the block. What have you been up to in the last few weeks? I guess I know you were on holiday, but
so I have been on holiday. Just before I'd mention my hobby stuff, I'm looking forward to John's video on second edition, because you can probably see second edition there. I'm a huge fan of 40k second edition. I still got the Necromunda bug a little bit, so I've built a full squad of enforcers. That's what I've been up to. Nice. So I've built a full squad, kitted them out with some extra grenades and bits and bats, and in my head I've got a video in mind of like something on Instagram with the Bad Boys theme music, but I've got to paint them before I do that, so that'll be my biggest hurdle, because I am another slow painter, procrastinating painter, I think it says in my bio. That's my biggest problem, so hopefully I can get them done. And then I've got some Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff I've been meddling with as well still. Well, it's been on a bit of a break because of the holiday, so yeah, Enforcers is really the only new stuff that I've done so far.
Awesome. Ben, I guess then, what have you been up to, bud?
So I have been building some Dark Oath Savagers, the Warcry warband, but because I am building them properly, I'm putting them on square bases. They're going to form
the new stuff.
No. This is the Warcry warband that they released. The one with the Conan.
Yeah.
I would do the pose properly, but I have a cat that is currently sat on one arm. The one that's got the Conan the Barbarian pose, where he's holding the sword double-handed, and the kind of red Sonya with the axe over her head. I've got that box set, which I'm I'm building for a video of my own actually. But I am putting them on square bases, because they are then going to join my Warhammer the Old World Chaos Slaves of Darkness kind of Warriors of Chaos army. That's made using all the newer models that they released for Age of Sigmar, and that I then went through and went, I'm going to rebase them all on squares. I'm going to use them, hoping to use them as like skirmishing, kind of a big skirmishing warband that will range out in front of the rest of the army. I think they'll look really cool like that.
That'd be cool. You could even use something like that, maybe more time-esque as well.
Definitely. Well, again,
Warband.
funnily enough, that's the benefit. Putting them on square bases, I could use them as a Cult of the Possessed warband or something that's rampaging through the streets of Mordheim. That would be really cool.
That's my once per podcast Mordheim mention. Anything else, Ben? Or
no, it's purely been working on those.
Well, so
that and family life stuff kind of got in the way a little bit. But no, that's been a really nice kit to work on. Actually, they're a really cool kind of nice to assemble a kit.
We'll have to see your updates in the Discord.
Yeah, I'll stick with the Discord.
Awesome. As for myself, trying to think now. Within a 2-week context, Tomb Kings, a lot of Tomb Kings.
You've been posting a lot of pictures of them.
Up to here in Tomb Kings skeletons. I just literally bulk painting a lot of the warriors, archers. I've got a lot of it done though. To be fair, I'm obviously speed painting it, so it's just like lots through it. Not up to a massive, a really high standard, but I've got lots of it done. I picked up,
you're way ahead of me now.
Realm Shaper engine that's currently base coated and started to do the vines on the side and part of because Age of Sigmar, it looks like the new edition, the terrain's going to be a big part, so I thought I'll pick up Realm Shaper engine for the Seraphon, and hopefully I've jumped the gun and they'll probably sell out if they end up revealing some new rules for the Seraphon that involves the engine, so I thought I'll jump on it and pick it up beforehand. But there's that. In terms of game, I have had a couple of games. So I had my first proper my own army game of the old world, which was awesome. So I did that with the Tomb Kings. It was 1,000 points against Warriors of Chaos. It was great fun. I can't remember the name of his hero that he was using, my opposition, but he just started killing all of his own cultists and stuff. It was awesome because his demonic blade started to eat all of the peasants' souls and whatnot. It was awesome. It's just great. It's just so thematic, the old world. I've just been really enjoying it. And then obviously the Tomb Kings are near enough got my full 1,000 points painted up, so it'd be cool to have a full 1,000 points painted on the table once they're done, sooner than later. And then last week I played a 10th edition game of 40k and got battered by World Eaters using my Ultramarines. So that's about it, really. All caught up.
That was that full Horus Heresy themed World Eaters army as well, wasn't it?
So what I'm gonna because it was really bad of me. It's my friend Finney. He's working on the army. It's like the old blue and white heresy theme for World Eaters, but he's got them as a 40k force. So I'm gonna have to take some close-up pictures of his models because I'm replaying him next week. So he absolutely smashed me. So I was like, well, now I know more what they do. Let's have a rematch next week, and we'll discount that one. So
are you keeping the same army? So you're gonna change?
I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm literally. I've asked him if we can literally keep it all the same, and I'll just see how it goes next week because now I kind of know more what to expect. Because I knew World Eaters would be aggressive, but I was not ready for just how quickly they were. I mean, he looked out a bit on some of his moves, but wow, did they move quick over to my side of the table. But
feeding your models into a blender.
Yes, pretty much, yeah. Next week for that, whenever we have RB updates further down the line, stay tuned for whether I get battered by World Eaters again or not. We'll see. But I think that'll do us for hobby updates. Thanks to everybody for giving yours. But Ben, what is it time for?
And now the news. Except it's not really the news because we're not actually talking news this week.
But I always like to ask. But I nearly forgot it because we'd had a week out. But I remembered. There we go. Main topic for this week was something we wanted to kind of do halfway through the year, since we're a bit slow on news at the moment until we come close to another big reveal show. We wanted to kind of touch on for this episode what's to come for the second half of this year, so 2024. So sort of second half of summer, autumn, winter, first half of winter, and we're sort of gonna go through more spending time on the main system, but we'll go through everything else, small bits here and there, what we think kind of predict might come, but also what we already know is coming, I guess, and we'll kind of put those together a little bit. First up, I figured let's go with one of the big boys. Let's go with Warhammer 40,000. And we do have, I'll pop it up on screen because we've got the picture for this one. This was our roadmap for, I guess, this year / end of last year, I believe.
Yeah.
More or less. And the only thing we've got left on here, Genestealer Cults and Sisters Battle. We've got those coming out. I think they're on pre-order now, actually.
They are.
And then obviously we've got this redacted codex faction, whatever, to come. Obviously,
Imperial Agents. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Agents of the Imperium, isn't it? Is the main sort of thing that we seem to think is coming. There has actually been like 2 leaked pages, am I right in saying that? That we've actually had from this supplement codex.
Yeah, there was some printmasters that were shown off, and you could see that it like banished the demon on there, and some other stuff like Audio Malleus. I think it had
stuff about different acolytes and stuff on there as well.
So yeah, it did. So I did a video on it. And we've had some rumor engines that would sort of tie into it as well. Like one of them looks like it could be from Courtiers, and then another from maybe some sort of preacher, but that's not necessarily 40k. It could be Kill Team, but I think it's going to be Agents of the Imperium or something like that.
Seems pretty solid, doesn't it? And from what things I've been hearing from multiple creators, different people, Reddit, all this sort of stuff, supposedly, if this Imperium Codex to be true, new boxes, new Inquisitors, new Assassins, all sorts to go along with it. So yeah.
Ooh.
So
do you mean now? Does that mean replacing the existing models that have been around for a little while but are still very cool, or do you think that means adding in some of the assassins that were around to the Heresy?
I would assume adding to the range.
Yeah, maybe a new temple, and then they might redo a couple of the existing ones. It's a bit up in the air. I mean, even Balrak's not sure, and he's got a source, hasn't he? Apparently, so.
I watched his recent video, and he was saying that actually he didn't think that was the redacted because he didn't expect that they would throw away something like a whole brand spanking new codex on just a Warhammer community page update. He expected it to be a big reveal event.
We shall have
I mean, it still could be, because that's summer 2024. I think summer lasts until, what is it? At least the end of August, early September, isn't it?
Till the kids go back to school.
Yeah, so I mean, we could well still have a reveal show. They show off that, and then it could go for pre-order a couple of weeks later. They've done that before, so you never know.
That's true.
The other thing that people are throwing around as well is that is there a possibility that they will once again bring the likes of Grey Knight's Death Watch and bring it into the same codex? Will we see that? Won't we?
See, I don't think so, and I'll tell you my thought for why. And it's because the Adeptus Sororitas have kept their own codex, and they are the militant arm of the Ordo Hereticus. So bringing the militant arms of the Ordo Xenos or Ordo Malleus into the Imperial Agents Codex would seem an odd choice when they've already got their own separate Ordo Hereticus Codex, in essence.
That's me playing devil's advocate, by the way. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Other 40k releases that are rumored to be end of this year. Blood Angels supposedly possibly getting a bit of a new range update.
That still could be the redacted one. They might just be holding it back.
That's true.
A lot of people are also saying that because of the way the stamp that's designed for the redacted logo, that it looks very Blood Angels-esque. I guess you could say
because
that.
It's red?
Yeah, red and has the Imperium logo in the background. I don't know. Possibly.
You've got red on you. Now, the Blood Angels, I'm sure, are going to be coming this year, because, I mean, the Dark Angels have already had theirs. It would seem logical to do Blood Angels or Space Wolves as at least one of the other ones this year. The Blood Angels, I'm excited by the prospect, because I'm hoping that we might get something like Primaris Sanguinary Guard, or like a whole new Primaris Death Company box. Because at the moment, Death Company, it's like, okay, here's the Death Company box, which are the old scale Firstborn Marines, and then you can just paint some intercessors up with some red crosses on them, which admittedly is how Death Company used to be done. I think we've gotten spoiled a little bit by the fancy shiny kits that Death Company got in kind of 7th and 8th edition. But I really like the idea of seeing something like the Sanguinary Guard or something like that scaled up to the kind of Primaris scale. Like the Primaris jump pack models that they did for the Assault Marines were so cool. I want to see Blood Angels get the glitzed up version of that, like the Inner Circle companions that they did for Dark Angels.
They were nice. Models.
Well, if the rumors are to be believed, then we are getting new Sanguinary Guard and new Death Company sprues, like upgrade sprues. But rumors are rumors, aren't they?
That's what this is. So then the only other couple I've noted down, Eldar do their big release still. That's surely got to be end of this year. We're hearing like new Warp Spiders, Phoenix Lords, all that sort of stuff.
They're finally going to replace one of the oldest models in the range. You mean the Warp Spiders?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the stuff you'd expect, I suppose.
God,
Yeah, I think that's
Sweeping
probably
Horse.
why you can never go wrong betting against the Eldar getting an update, right? You could say yes, that's probably going to happen this year, but I think it's just as likely to not.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true.
We've had new Banshees, we've had new Reapers, we've had new Scorpions now. I mean, if they work on the basis of releasing an Aspect Warrior in plastic per year, then, maybe by the end of the decade, we might get plastic water spiders.
Yeah, they've been like slowly releasing each unit. It's like the weirdest thing. And then the only other thing I'd noted down that's been going around is apparently Krieg might be getting plastic, like full plastic range. So
okay. Well, I mean, they don't need that much extra, do they? They need like a heavy weapons squad and plastic Death Rider upgrades for the Attillans. He doesn't even
not
need
much
to be a whole
extra.
separate kit.
Command squad.
Yeah, the command squad box.
There's a rumor engine that looks very, very similar to a Krieg banner, and it's even got the same like diagonal patterns.
Could be.
So I think there will be a plastic Krieg coming.
That would be cool.
Are there any rumors out there about any of the other Imperial Guard squads coming back? So that like
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, like we've lost a lot over the years, Talons and the Valhallans and plenty of others.
Nothing solid that I've heard of, but like it wouldn't. Like I've heard a lot of people around the kill team kind of
it's
saying,
perfect.
Like, it would be perfect to do it for it.
Yeah.
There's no like solid rumors that it's happening, but it's an obvious thing to do. So
yeah, I mean we've got a couple of rumor engines that are still unsolved, and one of them is like a wall with bullet holes and then the sandbags as well piled up. But then, as well as that, there's also a box with a pie in it and what looks like a turkey or something like that. So one of the rumors was like maybe rattling snipers, or it could be. This is my out there theory. I think one of the Warhammer Plus models might be that. It might be a little diorama of rattling snipers with a box and food and stuff like that. But I mean, like Jordan was just saying, then Talon Desert Raiders, Valhallans, Mordian Iron Guard. Catachans, yes, got it into another podcast. Plastic Catachans, they've got to come eventually. We've got Ripper Jackson, we've got the Colonel. We know they can make good plastic Catachans, so please just give us the rest.
It's an easy win, I think, for the kill teams.
It's a massive win. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about it previously with the kill teams and saying, why don't they do a box of Talon? Why don't they do a box of Valhallans? The Rattlings are an interesting one because they are working on phasing out, in particular, like the Finecast models, aren't they? So if they want to keep Rattlings in the range, they need to either replace them with a plastic model or re-release the old metal ones. Quick shout out to Wargamers Atlantic, who just today put out a release to say that one of their new plastic infantry boxes is their Sneak Feet, as they've called them, sniper unit, which are funny enough little halfling-sized barefooted rattling type snipers, which is a really cool kit. You should go check out pictures of those because they're really cool. I was more interested in I was more interested in the 20 model plastic werewolf infantry box that they announced today because I took one look at that and went, okay, that's going to have to become something for like either Warhammer the Old World or like a unit upgrade for my the Verkos Age of Sigmar Soulblight army that I'm working on, which is all kind of wolfy stuff.
Indeed. So, since we did touch on Kill Team coming out of, unless anybody else has got anything else 40k base, but I mean that's what I had noted down.
The only other one I'm wondering about is they did the whole like Arcs of Omen kind of thing, and they're still keeping up with the different kind of narrative books in the Age of Sigmar. Do we think that we're going to get a similar range of like books with a big model released for 40k? Will that be something that comes out over the course of this year?
I don't think this year, but I mean, my big theory that I'm still sticking to is, so we had Arcs of Omen at the end of 10th edition, didn't we? And it culminated in Vashtor and what have you. I think at the end of end of 9th edition, I should say, end of 10th edition. So not next year, maybe towards the end of
10th edition next year. We already had it a year.
No,
it's still under warranty at this point.
Yeah, it'll start at the end of next year because I think that's when Arcs of Omen started, wasn't it? Like the December or November the year before. Armageddon, I think, is going to be your big, massive campaign. I've done a couple of videos on this. Armageddon, and I think new Space Wolves, new Grey Knights, new Emperor's Children, and Fulgrim on Armageddon.
I think Grey Knights will be
the big leader, the big massive campaign. Because if you look in the current 40k rulebook, you got all the major battle zones with the little key symbol.
Yeah.
So Pariah Nexus is in there. The stuff from Arcs of Omen's in there. The Leviathan stuff's in there. And Armageddon is listed as a key battleground.
But Fulgrim and Armageddon?
To be fair, but...
Oh, Angron. Armageddon's very much Angron's stamping ground. Do you think Fulgrim?
Well, if the rumours are to be believed, there's a new plastic Fulgrim on the way. And Valrak's done videos saying he's convinced, and his source is 100% sure that it's coming.
Okay.
Well, we know Emperor's Children are getting something pretty serious.
Well, Emperor's Children next year, I think they've said, haven't they?
Yeah, Emperor's Children have basically had the White Dwarf treatment that World Eaters got before World Eaters got their codex.
They've had a placeholder, yeah.
Yeah, immediately before, that edition ended and their codex was instantly obsolete.
Indeed. Okay, well...
What do you think about the idea, though, that the big narrative push comes at the end of an edition? Does that not seem like an odd choice?
Yeah,
I would agree.
It's kind of like moving the story on, isn't it? I guess for the new edition.
So they obviously did that with, and I know we'll talk about Age of Sigmar, right? But you've just had that with the Dawnbringer Crusades, like you say. We've had it previously in 40k. It seems it's good in a way, to set up what's the new status quo going into a new edition. Let's have a lot of fun with it. But then you go into a new edition with a load of momentum, and then sort of stop. Because
what you mean, like
the story then is paused for your entire edition.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just an odd choice to me.
Well, I suppose that's the whole thing. They revved up boarding action as being a huge thing. They revved up the whole Arcs of Omen thing.
Sure.
And then 10th dropped, and that was the last we heard of boarding action, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah. It feels like there was almost you maybe squander a little bit of that excitement and that momentum without then sort of giving the opportunity to sort of release. I mean, I guess in a sense you're saying that the edition, 10th is out now, Leviathan's come out, so go and tell the story yourself, and then we'll pick it up in 2 years' time. I don't know. I feel like there's maybe a little bit of something missing there.
I was just going to move it on anyway, since we were mentioning Kill Team, to move it on to Kill Team anyway, which is interesting because you were just saying, Jord, about the narrative aspect. So like the big games, like you just said, Age of Sigmar 40k, towards the end you get that long push, maybe over 6 months to a year, that narrative, and then it comes to the crescendo. You start the new edition and it just kind of comes to that dead end. But with the smaller games, you have seasons now, is what they seem to want to do, and you have a narrative based around each season, maybe in a certain location or whatever. Kill Team being one of them, we've just sort of finishing up one of them. Obviously, end of this year, we had Andrew on, didn't we, guys, on the last episode we did?
Yeah.
Very much Kill Team heavy guy. Definitely seems to think, and I seem to know as well, Kill Team end of this year, probably getting a new edition, if not big new season. But it's 3-year cycle. We know what GW does nowadays.
Yeah.
Their 3-year cycle's up for Kill Team, so they either scrap it or they do a new edition. I'm going to guess new edition end of this year.
I mean, it seems to sell very well, so I would think they wouldn't get rid of it as a rule
Kill
set.
Team, out of all of the skirmish games, I want to say is probably the most popular.
And the Gallowdance series storyline that they did told really well. The way in which they phased it out, and like in much the same way they had done with Warcry, with like the Season of the Beast and stuff, they had different terrain bits that showed as you were going through different parts of the Hulk, which really made it feel like each kind of big box set they released was actually just telling a story, rather than some of the earlier kind of Kill Team boxes that they'd done, which was just, hey, here's some scenery and 2 warbands. Yeah. The Gallowdank one in particular really did feel like it had a narrative running all the way through it, which I really liked. Admittedly, part of that narrative was guys with birds perched on their wrist. But I don't know that we're necessarily going to get something that's as good as that with Kill Team Gex. I mean, the one they've released just now doesn't immediately fill me with joy. The Scouts versus Scorpions was narratively a bit dead, to be honest. And the next one we've got coming is, what was it? We'd see pictures. Squats versus...
well, no, you had Night Lords versus Mandrakes in between that, didn't you?
Did we even get that? See, again, that doesn't feel like it narratively ties into anything particularly. It seems a bit of a random one of, hey, these guys like the dark, these guys like the dark too. Let's make them fight.
Yeah, Gallowdark was quite good, like you were saying, and I think they discovered during all that it was a great avenue to release miniatures.
Yeah,
that they wouldn't normally release. Like we got the new Kroot, didn't we, before the big Kroot range came,
and the Corsairs, and we got the Arbites as part of that. We got loads of cool stuff.
Imperial Navy breaches. So the Gallowdark was really good, but then it's gone to Beta Decima. So it's gone down to this planet. We had the Scouts versus the Scorpions. and they were talking about this new planet, and there's different locales, and there's aspect temples have gone there. And then we've got the Night Lords and the Mandrakes, and then it's the Hernkin Jaegers versus Genestealer cults.
Okay,
but then
yeah,
I'm sure they did an article the other day saying this season on Beta Decima is coming to an end, and I thought to myself, it's only just started, really.
Start before it begins, yeah.
It's not lasted very long.
I have seen people saying though with Kill Team, and we'll say in a minute what we think might actually be coming for the new edition, because there have been some rumours around what might come in the new box set for it that's been
Vespid.
Yeah, Vespid, yeah. But the was it? I can't remember what it was called. Was it Shield and Faith or something like that? Shield of Faith was the big box set that we had for Kill Team in between the last 2 seasons.
Oh, the Inquisition style one.
Yes,
the one that was its own game. They sold quite well apparently because it sold out, and then as far as I'm aware, they didn't restock it, which is a shame because it supposedly was a really good game.
Yeah, the only thing people were saying is they felt it was weird, the timing of that. If we're soon to get like the new kind of edition, was that kind of like a halfway point, and they've kind of pushed back Kill Team a bit, maybe into next year. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case or not. But there have been heavy rumours around. I know Andrew last week was saying about this as well, that there's going to be a jump pack style themed versus themed new box set for the new edition for Kill Team. So like
there's a few people saying Scions.
Yeah, Scions on one side and Vespids from Tau on the other, kind of thing. Obviously, with
that's exciting to me. Because I love the Vespids. I remember the original like Vespid art that first came out, and they looked so cool. And then the miniatures have always been a little bit, let's say, underwhelming, right? But they're a great idea. And the Empire having all of these different Xenos races part of the the lineup, I think is great. So that's a cool rumor. I'm hoping that comes true.
So am I, because I did a video in April last year predicting that we'd get Swooping Hawks and Vespid Stingwings, and this before any of the rumors came out. Was a total shot in the dark, and if it turns out to be right, then I'm calling myself Nostradamus of Kill Team.
It was one of the weird ones though, so I want it where Vespids got left out of the last Tau release, and you really would think they'd have updated.
I'm sure they're going to come, aren't they? I mean,
are they? Does anyone know? Are they in the current Tau Codex still?
I don't know.
So, yeah. I believe so.
Well, an easy way to find out is, are they still available for sale in the fairly shonky models
that would be an easier way
look like the 1990s action figures? Let's have a quick look while we talk about Kill Team, and I'll have a quick see whether or not they are still for sale.
But to be honest, for Kill Team, that's mostly all we've got down. The only other thing I did actually note down, we can always link Warcry into this actually straight from this, I suppose. Obviously, when we had all these, the big announcement from GW of all these models we got scrapped, for Warcry we had all of like the Chaos Warbands just suddenly scrapped, just out of nowhere, and everybody was like, oh my god, I was planning a whole like Slaves to Darkness army on these things, what are you doing, Games Workshop? But they've been getting rid of, I think they're nearly all gone now on the website, and out of stock and whatnot, out of print. And a lot of Kill Team fans have kind of been worried, is the same thing gonna start happening now with Kill Team? Are they just gonna announce a big chunk of old Kill Teams, specific Kill Teams, to just be scrapped, like we saw with Warcry? I'm not sure if it'll be on the same level as Warcry, and I have my theories about that. And we can always... Ben, did you have a find on the Vespids?
I did. Vespids still... They're currently out of stock, like most things on the Games Workshop website. But they are still available as part of the range, which means they must still be in the Codex. On the subject of whether or not they're going to get Warcried, I think that's less likely for Kill Team, only because for a lot of them, they have then replaced an existing unit in the Codex. So, like, Commandos were the then replacements for the old metal and resin Commando models that had existed. You're releasing things like the Hernkin are basically just adding new units to the Votan range, just steadily increasing the size of the Votan army list. So I don't know that they'll necessarily lose models in the same way. I mean, the Corsairs, again,
the Kazakin for the Imperial Guard, they replaced an older unit, didn't they? And some of them just have an updated sprue with them. So like the Tau Pathfinder ones was the same Pathfinder kit, but there was like an upgrade sprue with it. So they can just repackage that into 40k. Same with these. Was it the Infiltrators slashing Cursors they did that with as well?
I said the Sisters of Battle were the ones that came out alongside the Tau.
Pardon?
So the Sisters of Battle were the ones that came out alongside the Tau, and they just got added into the unit. The Incursors, I don't know actually if they were a separate unit. Some of them are a little strange. I suppose things like the Chaos Space Marine one was just, hey, here's another Chaos Space Marine box, which I know we just redid the Chaos Space Marine box, but here's another Chaos Space Marine box because we felt like they needed more unit options. So here, have some extra guns you can add. Yeah, which is a bit of an odd way of going about it, but hey-ho.
Yeah.
So do you think that the kits that aren't like replacements or aren't part of a standard lineup would be the ones that get lost? You know, like the Star Striders, for instance.
They'd be the ones probably at the greatest risk, but I suspect that the ones that we're talking about there are things like the Imperial Breaches and the Arbites and stuff, which are very quickly going to appear in that redacted codex that we're eyeing up on the 40k roadmap there.
I mean, you might lose the official rules to them. The models will stay because, like Ben said, they're part of the armies. But the rules probably will eventually disappear or go to like Legends or whatever they call it nowadays. Retirement home for Warhammer. Moving swiftly on from that, we'll do a couple of quick ones here that probably don't have much depth to them. Warhammer Underworlds. There's a lot of stuff floating around that they're winding Underworlds down.
Okay, Ben, there's another cat.
Well, it's just true, unfortunately. I love Warhammer, and the thing is, they're two of my favourite games that they've done. Underworld's great little board game system, system. There's a lot floating around out there that they are winding down Underworlds, looking to scrap it possibly. We don't know that that's
a shame
true,
because
but
if that is true, I think it is a shame because Underworlds, like Warcry and Kill Team, I suppose, you've got some of the best variety and most characterful models in recent years from those teams, from those kits that came out. So I think you get a chance for really unique and just strange creations to come from that. So I think it will be a shame if we do lose that because it brings so much like extra complexity to the lineup.
I agree. I hope it stays to a certain degree, but yeah.
Well, it fills a niche that Games Workshop is sadly lacking in otherwise, which is games that can be played in under an hour in the pub.
Board game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a board game, but it's a board game that you can play. You can sit down with a mate over a couple of pints, have an hour spare in the pub, and play a game of Warhammer Underworlds. Have 2 beers and a game of Underworlds, and have an amazing evening out of it.
Take my warband and dice and a little lunchbox, and my folded boards, and that was it. It's great.
Yeah, it's a really good game as well. It's a fun game.
It's fantastic. It's one of my favourite games that they've done. I'll be honest. Like rules wise, it's really, really good. Really solid.
It is great. The only like drawback I think it has, and this is just like my approach to the games really, is the card-based system being sort of collectible or expandable, I suppose. Like I think, and I understand why that is, and obviously that was part of the pitch when it first came out. They were trying to tap into that market.
That's why they've lost a lot of the audience. There's just too much to buy. And they started to do 2 seasons a year, 2 editions a year.
Yeah, they tried to mitigate it a little bit, didn't they? By because you had people who had had everything from the beginning. They had all these cool cards that they could mix and match together to make like ultimate decks. But then they brought in the Rivals decks, didn't they? Where it was a set bunch of cards that you use for your warband, and then a set deck to try and mitigate that. Oh, you need all these cards, or you haven't got that card. Because it was getting a bit like Star Wars X-Wing, where everybody wanted a certain type of astromech droid because it just made you unbeatable. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, that card system does put a lot of people off, and I think when it first came out, I was put off because of that card system and thought, I'm not sure I want to get into that. But then once I had a look into it, because I really love the Sons of Velmorn models, and I found the Rivals deck, it was actually quite easy to get into, and I didn't feel the need to go out collecting other cards, or I didn't feel like I was missing anything to have fun with it. Plus, I think
the card issue only really becomes a problem if you're playing competitively as well. If you're just playing,
that's right,
like a pickup game with friends at the pub, then it's real, or just casual game on a Sunday afternoon around a mate's house. It's really not an issue.
Yeah, but we'll joining on to that, Warcry, another one of those 2 that were sort of paired together recently as to say that there might not necessarily be an actual next edition of Warcry whenever that comes. That we're not talking this year here for that, really. This year for Warcry, Underworlds, if that does carry on this year, you'll just get another season. Warcry, maybe you might get a new season, but
there's a big rumor on that, which we've talked about before, I think, which is that Warcry might be getting the Morehammer treatment. Warcry might be getting turned into, okay, here is a big, city somewhere in the mortal realms, and now you have lots of warbands that go and fight over.
It was a rumor.
In that way.
The only other thing that I did think is that maybe some of it, part of it's true and part of it's not, and that maybe we are just getting a new season of Warcry, and that it is just that more time kind of theme, but with the new Vermin Doom kind of aspect. So you've got Skaven Stormcast, you're inside the Vermin Doom, something like that, right? And it is like a more time theme.
So
I mean,
just
equally,
a more
maybe they're just
flavored
going to
season of Warcry.
Yeah, basically.
Equally, maybe they're just going to re-release Mordheim, because that is basically a license to print money.
Yeah.
I can buy a made-to-order version of Mordheim. Yes, please. Here, take my money.
It's one of the other things I was going to possibly touch on later, but we can always throw it in now anyway. I don't think this year, but I wouldn't say out of the possibility that the next year or two that we don't see them at least reprint Mordheim, just as it was, but like made to order, you know.
The updated
I would
living rulebook version.
love to see it, but I can't. Given the sort of way that the release schedules have been and the sort of delays, you know, and I know they're struggling with a lot of stuff. Like so many game systems and so much stuff coming out. I don't know how you would put something into the schedules that would break the system like that.
That's pretty much why I don't think we will.
Yeah,
but, I mean, the only thing I would say though, George, with the like, they put some random stuff at random, especially around Christmas time. Maybe
I was gonna say.
they put some random stuff up for made to order. It doesn't necessarily really break the schedule. It's just kind of like, if you want this 2-week, like, you know, section of the year where you can order this, you know, fine. and then you can't again. Bye bye. But you know,
well, I mean, if they do it, I'll buy it. I'll
look at some of the stuff they've done before, where they've gone, hey, here is a gorgeous, you know, Weta Workshop scale model of a glorious scene from Lord of the Rings of the hobbits hiding under the tree with the ring wraith on the horse at the top. By the way, this amazing thing, which I'm sure people would want to buy for years to come, is only going to be available for 2 weeks. Enjoy. I mean, the time and money that must have gone into the design of making that for it to only be available for a limited short time period. And they have got a history of doing things like that. Look at when they released Space Hulk. Hey, here's the new edition of Space Hulk. By the way, once it's gone, it's gone. They do have a habit of springing this stuff off on us. I'm to the point where I have occasionally thought about having like the Games Workshop emergency slush fund, which is, you know, break glass in case of sudden made to order. I just have like 300 quid in a jam jar somewhere with a hammer next to it. I go, oh my god, quick, give it to me.
The only thing I was going to bring
you need like an emergency eBay pile as well. So when you suddenly need to buy something,
I've gone through a few of those.
That.
I mentioned the Space Hulk. I had 2 copies of the Space Hulk re-release, and one of those got sold as one of the emergency eBay sales to pay for Warhammer the Old World box set.
Right. I was going to say something else, but we'll move it on because I'm curious at
We're breaking
time here. So yeah, breaking me. Age of Sigmar. Let's move on to another one of the big boys. So today actually, and I'll put this up now on our screen for those who are actually watching. We have a release date for the new edition of Age of Sigmar. So 29th of June for pre-orders, 13th of July for release date. 2-week window. Probably expected that, I suppose. So we know when it's due to come out. That's going to be take up. The other thing to bear in mind, since we are actually talking second half of this year for what we expect to see, Sigmar is going to take up most of summer, a lot of summer. You're going to get this happen. You might have a little window where something comes out that we've already had announced, maybe the new Necromunda thing, which will.
You'll get this, then you'll get the battle tomes for Stormcast, battle tome for Skaven. Those will come over most of the rest of this year.
Possibly even a few more models that we don't know about. I don't know, Skaven, possibly. But
especially when they've taken some of the models that were in the Skaven range out, we might see new models coming in for those.
Yeah. And like we were saying before, maybe if these Warcry rumors are true, that's where you might see the crossover or something. You get something else in there. Obviously, it looks like they really want to be pushing this Spearhead thing as well. So you get some new Spearhead boxes announced at some point as well. One thing I was going to bring up before, which I can kind of tie into this anyway, being as I'm a Seraphon fan, we had the Seraphon Temple Guard teased. Where on earth do they fit in? We just had Seraphon end of last year. So are they going to be like a Warcry warband? Are they going to be Underworlds? But I doubt it's Underworlds based. Are they just going to be a random release for Sigmar? That's not something they usually really do.
Or is Seraphon going to be the next book that gets released? Just a slight I mean, they've already got, I suppose, all the background and the artwork and stuff that they prepared for the Seraphon book, which was one of the last ones out for this last edition of Age of Sigmar. Will they keep a lot of the layout work that they've done, but add in the updated rules section, maybe?
I did wonder where they're going to come in, because that'd be really weird if they did just randomly release a box of them, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on Sigmar, but I think it's probably fairly straightforward for the rest of this year. We've probably seen a lot of it.
Yeah, it's going to follow a pattern, isn't it? I think.
I suppose
battle times to come, really.
A way to think about it is think back to when the 40k 10th edition release happened. That was a similar time of year for the Leviathan box. And then so we got the Marine Codex that year. Did we even get the Nid Codex before Christmas that year?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Because I think it was just the two of them. I think it was Marines and Nids. Might have been Necrons. Maybe Necrons Codex came out.
I think it was. You're right. It may have just been the two of them, which is why I was saying I would have thought fairly similar for this year. You might get one squeezed in there. I don't know.
That was on your the time, the roadmap.
It was, wasn't it? I was just thinking
right?
that.
Mechanicus and Necrons.
Oh yeah, for last year. I mean, yeah. I'll put it up again.
Yeah, so Winter, Mechanicus, and Necron. So there were two more codexes after Marines and Necron and Tyranids that came out. So maybe two more army books or battle tomes, I suppose we use the new term for them, before the end of the year. In which case, Seraphon may well be one of the ones that get released because we know
when
we've got
did
those temple guards.
Seraphon come out for 3rd edition? How long ago was it?
What, this last edition, literally like last year. I think it was. I want to say end of summer, sometime like that.
Yeah.
Because they don't tend, I mean, it's not ideal, but they don't tend to immediately redo a codex,
thought,
right?
But it can happen. It can
happen. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them, but it doesn't tend to be.
It was at the Warhammer Fest, wasn't it? Because they had the models in the display cases at Warhammer Fest for the Seraphon.
If we did, it would be very end of this year anyway.
But especially where they're completely revoking all of the battle tomes. I mean, where for example, they made the move from 8th to 9th in 40k, most of the army books remained valid until the new army book came out. Whereas the move from 9th to 10th, it was like, no, okay, just put all your army book, all those army books you bought, forget about it. Keep them for the lore and for the artwork, but that's it, because they are otherwise basically expensive house bricks.
Indeed.
For the battle tomes, therefore, I can see that there might be an argument for going, well, why make the army wait until? Because you're going to get players who are like, oh, ours is always at the end of the edition. This is so unfair. Maybe they will come out at the start. Maybe they'll mix it up a little bit.
It could be. It could be Dark Oath, Cities of Sigmar, and then Seraphon, all just straight back to back.
You never know.
We've done it this way. Now we're going to go in reverse order. So we're going to work on it.
Knowing my luck, it'll be Idneth Deepkin last because I've just decided I wanted to do that army. So,
although the other thing is actually, we just have had the first supplement, Dark Oath 4 Sigmar. Are we going to see more supplements? So
that's very true.
Yeah,
good point.
Right, let's move on to one of your a favourite here for sure, Old World.
Yay!
Obviously, factions we haven't had sort of released yet, and you can correct me on this, guys, if I'm wrong. Empire, High Elves, Wood Elves, Beastmen, Chaos Warriors. Is that right? I think that sounds about right.
Dwarves have also not been released.
Dwarves have been teased, but they're not been released.
Technically, yeah. But we've had them revealed, haven't we? So
we know they're coming. We even know what the cover of their battle tome looks like.
We know what's coming in them, I guess. Yeah. I know we could wax lyrical for hours about Old World.
Oh, yes.
But for funsies, for everything that we haven't seen, had revealed, for the factions that we haven't had, we know that we've sort of had a new model, centerpiece model, for each new faction so far. Obviously, what was it? Bone Dragon for Tomb Kings.
Tomb King's got loads. Tomb King's got the dragon. They got
centerpiece model, though, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they got things like they got the updated head for the Necrolith Colossus that had previously been unreleased. They got things like all the new character models.
That's true. I suppose you're right, actually. Yeah, so probably that's the thing on that. But in terms of goblins, what people pick something just on the top of your mind, maybe as to what you'd like to see then, maybe for out of the new factions, because I would imagine we're going to get the majority of those before the end of the year now.
I'm thinking so.
Yeah.
And do you think we'll see the as in teased or released?
I think at the very least we will see a release of at least 2, maybe 3 more factions this year. And I think we'll see all of them teased.
Really? What, 3?
Well, think about it. We've already had. Bear in mind, Old World released about
when you look at
mid-spring
so far.
February released.
Yeah, was it February? I thought it was March. Okay, well,
No,
either
It was
way,
Feb it came out, I think. Yeah,
we've already had Bretonnians, Tomb Kings, Orcs and Goblins, and Dwarves will be out before you know it. I mean, that's got to be coming.
that's
almost
next number of weeks. Yeah.
as-
So yeah,
I mean,
that's why I'm saying I think their plan would have been to get those factions out in this year, more or less. Or
It
at the very
avoids-
least, like you said, Jord revealed at the end for the last two, maybe, I don't know.
Especially because a lot of it's re-releasing old models. It avoids people then resorting to things like third-party companies, which is what Games Workshop don't want. They want them buying their models to play the game that they've released. They've given everyone the rules for them. Now they have to give them the models. So I genuinely think that we'll get we've got Dwarves coming. A lot of people have been sharing the matchups of things like, it's going to be Wood Elves and
Beastmen,
Beasts,
Wood Elves.
High Elves and Chaos. Because of the kind of the matchups that happen around and about this time. We know, for example, that the Wood Elves did have Morgor had been reborn in the Glade of Woe, and there was all the stuff that was kind of happening between the Azrai and the Beasts at this particular time in the kind of old world calendar. So that seems a logical kind of pairing.
You've actually just made me think, Ben. Actually, like, I wonder if for the end of the year, since we started Old World with it, I wonder if we might get two of them actually released together, like we did Tomb King's Bretonnia. So maybe I have like Wood Elves, Beastmen. End of the year, leading up to Christmas, will we get two of them released on the same drop kind of thing?
I mean, I would love to see that. I think that would be really fantastic, actually, because one of the dangers, I think, with the old world is that you do lose the momentum. And precisely like you're saying, Ben, you've got old armies. There's a lot of those kits out there in the world. People who are excited and can't wait are going to go through other, whether that's eBay, whether that's
Highland Miniatures or any other companies that make
exactly. them. And I would have said the same a couple of months ago, that there was a real sort of propulsive move forward of, okay, we're going to get, we started with two factions, then it's Orcs and Goblins. I was surprised how quickly they were announced, and then Dwarves were announced, and it's like, oh wow, this is definitely happening quick. This, I don't know if it was a delay or always intended. The window from announcing the Dwarves to where we are now, I mean, we're 11 weeks, I think, and that feels unusually long for something like this. I mean, I know there's not been quite this before.
4th edition Sigmar that's kind of had that caused that.
Yeah, exactly. And as we just say, you said, Luke, we're going to see 4th edition Sigmar taking a lot of the oxygen over the next couple of months. So I don't know, there's going to be physical space. Plus, we've got the Moretime reissue that we've just greenlit. So where are you going to fit it in?
And then
Necromunda as well.
I'll tell you, think about it this way. Orcs and Goblins were teased basically Christmas. I mean, that was like our big kind of Christmas, New Year. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And they didn't come released until kind of, was it, again, April that the Orcs and Goblins landed?
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
sure it was. So you're talking about weeks. That's 12 weeks. So yes, it's been 11 weeks since the Dwarves were teased. We're on about the right same time scale. We know that the pre-order for Age of Sigmar is happening at the end of June, but there's 2 or 3 weeks between now and then. That's plenty of time for them to go, hey, this Sunday, by the way, Old World Dwarves. Hey, I have 2 weeks of Old World Dwarf release to tide people over and keep the money main churning.
Certainly possible, yeah. But if you announce on Sunday the Dwarf pre-order, which is, if that's a 2-week window, that means they'd be being delivered when you're expecting people to pre-order Age of Sigmar 4th edition.
That might work for a lot of people, though, isn't it? To be fair, that weekend.
What was that? Sorry,
it is sort of payday, though, I suppose, isn't it? For that weekend, though, for Sigmar. I think that's why they've put it on that weekend, probably. End of the month. But hey, we'll have to see.
I also think that you've got 2 different markets in terms of people who want to buy the new edition of Age of Sigmar and people who are really het up and excited for Old World. And if you've got 2 different spending streams there, giving the people who are excited for Old World something to spend the money on means that you've got the door open and quite happily then to spend a month obsessing over Age of Sigmar 4th edition.
Yeah,
I'm confident that I think we will see at the very least High Elves, Wood Elves, and Beasts before the end of the year. That's my prediction.
I'm going to embrace your confidence then, Ben, because I'd love for that to be the case. I'm hoping that you're right on this one.
One last tinfoil hat theory for the Old World. We get most of the factions out before the end of the year. We've had 9 factions, I believe, is the startup.
Yeah.
Do we have a secret 10th faction that we don't know of that could be announced end of the year for the new year?
I don't think so, just because they've gone quite so hard on saying these are I mean, they annoyed so much of the fan base by saying, these are the factions. These are the factions we are not doing anything with. And we do know a lot of the politics that's happening in the studio at the moment, that in part it's because of things like Skaven was going to be so heavily earmarked for its involvement of Age of Sigmar, and they don't want people spending money for the Age of Sigmar department that's going to be taking money away from the coffers of the Old World department. I don't think we necessarily get that. I think Dark Elves might eventually make the move because they just don't.
Yeah, because they didn't rule them out, did they?
No, and they just, apart from the Witch Elves are very much their own thing now. The Dark Elves are, bizarrely, the Dark Elves are almost half the cities of Sigmar at this point, which seems really odd. Like, these are the cities of Sigmar. Why are quite so many of them worshipping Cain? It is an odd combo. But I can imagine the Dark Elves making a move, and I think that might well be because one of the things that we know was huge during this particular time period was the whole Battle of Thinnerville Plain. It was the invasion of Nagaroth into Ulthuan. So it seems bizarre to have this being the time period in which we're fighting and not have the Dark Elves make the move over to Warhammer the Old World. But I can't see it happening this year.
It was a very out there one. Hey, who knows?
I can imagine that when the Cities of Sigmar Battle Tome finally gets released for 4th edition Age of Sigmar, that the Dark Elves will not be in it. And they might then say, okay, all of these are now going on to Last Order. So if you've got Dark Elves, and that is your main kind of, Soul Runner chariots and all those kind of stuff are the thing that make your heart sing when you're playing Age of Sigmar, it might be worth stocking up on that stuff now, because I think they are going to go to no longer available for Age of Sigmar, and then eventually make a reappearance on square bases.
Sai, let's jump into one of your favourites, Necromunda.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hive Secundus, we know that's coming, right? That's got to probably be end of summer, maybe.
You had your video out on Hive Secundus today, didn't you?
After Sigmar 4th edition, maybe.
So you had your video on Hive Secundus today, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I think, Age of Sigmar 4th edition, so pre-order 29th of June. They'll get that out of the way. I think probably end of July, so 2 weeks after, maybe the first week in August, we might see Necromunda go up for pre-order. And then you might even see the additional Spirers, the Yeld, the Jakoro ones, go up maybe the same weekend.
Indeed.
Well, they were saying on the Warhammer community site today, they previewed the new terrain bits and bobs that I'd mentioned previously.
That's coming afterwards, isn't it?
It is. It's going to come out released separately, but they said that they would be showing more stuff, some of the models and stuff that's coming out of Hive Secundus in the coming weeks. So I think
you're going to get this ruined Zone Mortalis first. And I think it said the data stack chambers are going to come slightly afterwards, I think, or slightly after the release if you scroll down a little bit. But I do like the look of that.
Yeah, these kits are great. And when I saw them, it was very odd because I was like, how is it taking them this long to do these? Because these are so good.
And the annoying thing is,
idea.
This stuff, this ruined Zone Mortalis and smashed up metal and broken bulkheads, it shouldn't just be for Secundus, because the Underhive, all these collapsed domes and abandoned decaying manufactorums, this is what it should be like. Rusty, old, decaying, and broken, so you can mix and match it.
Yeah,
I'm already planning a ruined tile to come. I've got my big kind of 4x4 Necromunda set, and I'm already planning to do a set, like a ruined section that's going to have like acid melted through the floor and stuff, as if something in the upper hives has dripped down and just ruined the lower levels.
I think we said last episode, didn't we, as well? Again, I think Andrew had a bit of a light bulb moment, and he saw the logo that was the emblem that was sort of on the box, maybe thinking that we're going to go into a new season style thing for Necromunda as well. So will we kind of stay within this sort of Secundus sort of theme, and we get more Hive-related box sets come out, possibly maybe 2 or 3 more over the next year?
Yeah, I think that's a good theory, because I think the season's approach, it has a lot of potential. I mean, obviously, in terms of commercial potential, it's quite a powerful way to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's you're borrowing a few lessons from
a War Machine and Hordes,
like video games, and other tabletop games. But I think it's a very canny marketing approach, but there's also a lot of narrative potential with it. I mean, we talked a bit about some of the cool stuff in Warcry, where you were looking at different. I mean, I think they perhaps didn't exploit that quite as much as they could have, where it was this season is going to be about Gur and the Realm of Beasts, and then this season could have been about a different realm. And I know that's being done, but
5
in a
big
sort
box
of
sets, didn't they, for that Warcry
They did.
season?
yeah, there's a lot based in the realm of beasts,
I
which was
know
quite cool when you put them all
many people,
together.
even locally, like I know, bought like every box in that series
Right.
just to be able to have the terrain, right? So
Because you get the complete set, right? So I
You
think
got a
that's
whole board
probably
for
a
it.
good shout for this. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. I'd like to see them do similar seasons for doing things like, okay, so do the sump and let's have boats or something. That would be amazing.
Yeah. He's definitely got an Aliens vibe for it, Secundus, hasn't it? The way they're going for
without
it.
a doubt.
I mean,
I'd
even
love
the
to see
article
some
today
more
was
stuff like
watch
that
those
come out.
doors and corners, and you've got the sentry guns coming out as well.
Oh, I forgot about the
Yes,
sentry guns.
true.
No,
That's
it
true.
really is. It's Hadley's Hope all over the place.
No, it's
I think
looking awesome.
the grotty, the weirdo sort of almost nurgly kind of gene stealers look great as well.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Malstrain.
The real different flavour.
They're awesome.
I want to see some more weird, twisted factions come out.
Yeah.
For sure. Like
I think you'll see
the
quite a bit
big
for
ones.
Secundus. I think they'll bring some
Yeah.
other stuff out as well.
Yeah.
I saw those
For sure.
Malstrains and my brain went, okay, so a Malstrain themed Gene Stealer cult army for 40k, aberrants with huge spikes and stuff growing out of them.
That'd be awesome.
Like tanks, which you could do the Brood Brothers detachment, but you could have the tanks even looking kind of like warped and so forth because they tried to match the aesthetic, because in their heads the normal STC version of the tank looks wrong because it doesn't have that malformation and graffiti twisting to it.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, I think goes without saying that's probably what we can see coming for Necromunda. The last two we have really, we can pitch these in together: Horus Heresy and Imperialis. There's not really much I've really heard about what to expect for this, to be honest. We've already spoken on previous episodes, sort of what we'd like to see rather than predicting.
Tiny Primarchs. We wanted a complete set of tiny Primarchs, because then you can have all the tiny Primarchs on a shelf and go, look at them, they're all tiny Primarchs.
But I mean, obviously, worth noting that one of the main releases left this year, we've got Mechanicus, we've got that new big army box set coming.
And I'm sure they'll do Legions versions of it as well at that point.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm going to guess we just get some smaller releases now, probably for the rest of the year after that Mechanicus set. I would maybe you might get one more big set before the year's up. I don't
maybe
know
like
what
a book
might be.
And some characters or something.
Yeah, campaign book or something like that. Could well be. And then I think, Si, I remember you saying recently maybe another big Primarch might get redone sooner than later.
I think so, yeah, because they did say that they wanted to revisit the Primarchs, didn't they? So maybe like Lorgar Ascended or someone like that, because the Lorgar Primarch is looking a little bit dated now, isn't it?
It looked awful. It looked great when it was released the first time round.
Yeah, that's. Well, I was trying to be kind, but yeah, it's.
Don't bother being kind to Lorgar. Nobody should be kind to Lorgar.
Because when was the last Primarch we had come out for Heresy model-wise?
Adam?
It was...
Go on, Ben, sorry.
It was the Horus one that was released, the Horus Ascended model. I'm trying to remember which was when they did...
Fulgrim Transfigured has been released as well.
What's the most recent one, Si, is what I was going to ask you. Can you remember how long ago it was since we've had like the last Primarch released for Heresy?
I think, was it Jagatai Khan?
It was the Khan.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That could be it, to be fair. I'm just trying to work out, like, time-wise, if we might have another
I think it was Jagatai Khan, and then they went on to the Ascended ones.
I know Valrak was saying in one of his videos this week that he thinks that the Angeron miniature, that was basically the first of the resin Primarchs they released, is going to get re-released as a plastic model. Not an Ascended version, but literally just one to kind of update the design aesthetic, because he's smaller than a lot of the other Primarchs that are released since then. Just because of the scale creep that has come in since that model was sculpted all those years ago.
So yeah, keep your eyes out, guys, for Heresy. Maybe you got the Mechanicus coming. That's pretty awesome, anyway. To be fair, but possibly maybe another Primarch before the end of the year,
or the Emperor. I'll just go, hey, we've done Horus Ascended. Here's the Emperor.
Hey, are you much into your Horus Heresy or anything like that, Jord?
Not especially. I mean, I like the aesthetics of some of the actual chapters back in the day, but for me, yeah, I mean, I already get enough Space Marines from just 40k, so
got double the amount going on.
Yeah,
yeah, that's it. But I think from everything that I've noted down for this, I think we've managed to get through the majority of sort of the systems, and I think we've covered quite a bit. To be fair, we've shaped up the second half of the year for 2024, so it'd be interesting by the end of the year to see. It is. It'd be interesting to see end of the year how close we came with sort of the predictions.
Have to do a retrospective video and say what we were right and what we were dead wrong on.
I mean, the question for me that is the exceptional. I mean, I know we talked about the more time piece, right? But will there be anything else in for instance, a new Warhammer Quest? So would you explore something like that, or a new Space Hulk edition?
Well, it's interesting that you should say that, because when they did Blackstone Fortress, they said, didn't they wanted to alternate between 40K.
It felt like that's how you do it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was what they said. So,
well,
maybe.
The only other thing that did occur to me is that obviously these rumor that's been floating around with this whole Warcry reboot thing. Could it also just be that it is actually a new Warhammer Quest, and that it is sort of like a Mordheim style new quest?
I don't think they cross pollinate it like that. I think
no.
But I mean, like, is the rumor wrong, and it's nothing to do with Warcry necessarily?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I see what you mean. Right.
Yeah, that theme that they're talking about, is that actually a different game entirely? Is
it could be, game? But I'm hoping that the next Warhammer Quest game will be set back in the 41st millennium again.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they did another city-based Sigmar set.
They've done 3 Age of Sigmar ones now, and they've all had issues. Cursed City obviously being the most cursed of them, but
they should do one set in the 41st millennium where different factions are trying to break into the Eldar's Black Library.
That would be so good. Cool. That would be so good.
There are so many ideas you can do with those sets. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for bringing that up there, Jordan. It'd be interesting to see. Like you said, it's just the schedule we've got for the rest of this year. It'd be mad, wouldn't it, to try and fit one in? But you just never know with GW. So
coming this Christmas, Battlefleet Gothic. Just randomly.
Man of War version 2.
I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Dreadfleet. No, new Dreadfleet.
I'd buy them all in a heartbeat, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wish lists for days.
Gorkamorka.
Gorkamorka, oh god.
Well,
awesome.
It would tie in with the video game, the Speed Freak game.
That's true. Yeah. Very true. But yes, we shall end our wishes there, our wish list there. Again, it's the new character from the Tomb Kings, isn't it? With it announces Cetra and all his titles with the long scroll.
It's Ben's hobby update.
Yes.
Yeah. But what we'll do, guys, we'll end the show because we haven't had it in a couple of weeks on our usual Warhammer 20 questions. And Jordan,
that means I've not missed one.
So,
no, you haven't. When you were off, we did how much instead?
Yes.
How much?
I did watch that. It was quite funny.
Yeah, we wanted to give people a chance as well to possibly send in more and whatnot. So we've done that ready for this week. But Jordan, for you and anybody new to the podcast who doesn't know what Warhammer 20 questions is, it's very much like 20Q or 20 questions as you'd know it. So we have suggestions from viewers. We have suggestions in from our viewers for the most of the time, where they'll send in a Warhammer character unit that you guys have to try and guess, that I know of. And you get 19 questions, yes or no questions. The 20th is your guess for who you think it is. The guys are undefeated, so no pressure. But there are 3 of you this week, and Ben,
there is someone who will argue that point, but we are technically undefeated.
We are technically undefeated, which is the best kind of undefeated.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's what I was going to say. The suggestion, this week. Is from Mike Ben. It's one of his other suggestions that he sent in a while back. So it's been a while since we had him back on for one of his suggestions. So I thought I'd bring Mike's on.
So the thing is, it's him I get to blame if we get beaten finally.
Basically, yeah. It's all on you, Mike. Sorry, but Jordan, I believe the guys usually make the guests go with the first question, so you can always conspire with each other as to what you want to ask, etc. But let the questioning begin.
Okay, so this is me questioning the rules. This could be a unit or a character from any game, from any Warhammer game, any era.
That's right.
It doesn't have to be game either. It can just be from the books. It can be anything. So you just got to kind of narrow it down. Okay. You can ask the guys for tips, but
could be a real person.
a good starter question. It could be like,
no. So like it has to. It will be from within the Warhammer universe.
It will have been official in some form of official Games Workshop format, whether it was a publication or a miniature.
Do you reside in the 41st millennium or something like that, or in the old world?
Or the world.
It's going to be a yes or no, you see. So that's usually a good one to start narrowing it down.
Okay. Well then, let's go with that then. So, are you from the 41st millennium?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Sai, over to you.
Are you from the old world?
I am indeed. That's 2 questions down.
Okay.
Nice.
Over to you, Ben.
Are you human?
No. That's 3.
Okay.
Are you chaotic in nature?
No, that's 4.
Are you a leader amongst your peers? Would you be considered a leader, or a king or queen?
That's a tough question to answer in the context. Not really. That's such a hard one to answer under how you've asked it, to be honest. So, but I'm gonna have to just say not really. As I consider them, the thing that he sent in, no.
Okay. Do you have a model?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like just from a publication; it has actually had a miniature.
It's had a miniature.
This could be something like Grombrindal, right? So this could be the White Dwarf.
Very much could. Although he would be considered, I think he would be considered a leader, given that he was.
I don't
originally
know. I wouldn't consider him a leader, though. I think.
Well, he was King Snorri Whitebeard.
He has been
originally.
hero. Yeah, he has been hero.
Okay.
The whole
he was the
question,
king of kings of the dwarves at one point.
The whole leader question, it's a hard one. It's a really in between ground, that one. I wouldn't focus too much on that one at the moment. You've got to narrow it down.
That's
far
a red
more, to
herring.
be honest. Yeah.
Please do not engage with this NPC.
Okay. Well, we can rule this in or out. So, are you dwarven?
No, that's 5.
Okay.
Are you the star of a Black Library novel or publication?
Not a star, no.
Not a star.
Good question, though.
Do you have pointy ears?
Yes, that's 8.
See, that's good, Ben. Yeah.
Now narrow down what flavour of elf.
Yeah, that's a good guess who approach.
Question 9, I believe.
Are you would you be considered on the side of good or order?
Yeah. Okay. That's 9. So I'm not a dark elf, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Evil elf.
So I'm not dwarven, on the side of good and order.
It's an elf. It's a question of, is it a wood elf or a high elf, really, I suppose.
Not a leader as such.
So you're about halfway.
Could be a sea elf.
It could.
If someone was being real tricksy there.
Oh, what's the captain of that boat from Dreadfleet? The dragon, the sea
Prince.
drake.
Oh,
Prince. What's he called?
It's like Irillion or something like that, right? With a Y.
He is technically a high elf, though. He is, so he would be considered one of the high elves if you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I try and narrow it down, elf faction wise? Then?
Yeah, try and figure out if it's a high elf or a wood elf. Like, do they like living in trees?
Are you of the high elves faction?
No, that's 10.
Okay, so we're probably looking at a tree hugger. Probably. Do you like big flappy bird things?
Do I like big fluffy? I mean, I'd have to say, but if that's the genuine question you're asking, like, it's hard to say, Ben. Like,
Okay.
I know what angle you're going for. Like, it's not the obvious thing you're thinking of.
It's. I know Mike's been painting a bunch of wood elf warhawk riders. That was why.
yeah. No. So, in answer to your question, no. In that sense, no.
Okay.
But you also have to narrow it down.
Are you a character?
Kind of.
Right.
That's not a yes or no.
As opposed to a unit, I guess was the...
Right, okay, so this is the question I was going to suggest, because you haven't asked unit or single yet. That's why it's
Sure.
so hard to answer.
Yeah. So are you a single model?
No.
Okay.
So
That's
it
a
is
good
unit.
question to ask, because that's why it's so hard to answer leader or no.
Right.
So it is a unit.
It is a unit. That's important. Because if I'd have answered to you and said, yes, it's a character or leader, it's not.
Sure.
Yeah, that's going to lead you off to individual characters and stuff, and that's not fair. So it's the best way I can answer it, really.
It is a unit, and it's not a
that's
Warhawk
12,
Riders.
so 13th question now.
What elf unit?
War Dancers, Way Watchers, Glade Riders, Glade Guard. I think the current Old World run also has Sisters of Twilight in there.
Is there any chance it would be an older iteration? You know, are we talking about Beastmasters and stuff as well?
Yeah, true. Or I mean, they had Scouts. They even had Chariots, I think, at one point. To make sure.
Are you a Wood Elf?
Are you a Wood Elf? Indeed, a Wood Elf. Yes.
Right. Okay. So we are Wood Elves.
Unit.
Okay. Wood Elves.
You're on 14 now, guys.
Yeah. Wood Elves.
This one is.
I'll say, do you ride on anything?
No.
Okay, so it's not a chariot model. It's not cavalry. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, the assumption is that it's 5th edition, right?
I'm assuming older. I mean,
yeah. So did you exist as early as, I guess, 3rd edition?
From what I have here, the information I have here, no.
Okay.
So it's
looking at the 4th and 5th edition codex onwards.
Yeah.
No, so it's earlier than that. So I didn't exist.
Oh.
That point beyond. So it's earlier than 3rd edition.
Oh God, we're going all the way back to the earliest editions. Like
so it could be. It could be.
God help us.
Could it be like Harbor? Is it Harbroth's archers? Is that the regiment of renown?
Scarloth's archers, wasn't it?
Is that right? Yeah, Harbroth, is that an orc? So is it
Scarloth's Wood Elf? Scarloth's. It's going to be it is. It's going to be Scarloth's Wood Elf archers. It is a unit that contains characters.
In another world, if a dwarf was breathing really loudly, could they shoot him in the dark?
Yes.
So they got balls. Right.
Are they quite a famous unit?
Yes.
So you might
say they're
renowned.
You've got the
renowned
famous unit.
Yeah.
I think that was question 19. So you can.
Would you care to make the guess, Jordan?
So what? Yeah. So I think. Do we need the name completely right? Because I forget the name of the. Is it Scarlock? Scarlock's Wood Elf Archers, the Regiment of Renown.
If you're roundabouts there, I'm not gonna be harsh about it.
So let's guess that then. Are you
gonna guess Scarlock's Archers? I believe it's called, or Scarlock's Wood Elf Archers.
Scarlock's
are one of the 8 regiments of renown from 2nd edition.
Yeah,
right.
For Wood Elves, Mike's suggestion. He had you there, Ben. To be fair,
he had me on the ropes.
There you go. Threw him up on screen there. It's one of the images of
Wood Elf archers.
The old images of them. But it's a cool suggestion, Mike. They did get there in the end. It was close. I think the age question was what needed to be asked, to be honest. But yeah, well done, guys, for that one. Thanks, Mike, for your suggestion. As always, guys, please do send in your suggestions for future episodes for Warhammer 20 questions. And we'll get yours up on here, see if you can challenge the guys. Undefeated, I believe, Ben, still.
Undefeated.
So there you go. Well done, Jordan. But until the next one, for that one, we'll thank everybody for coming on. Obviously, as always, guys, make sure you're subscribed to us here on YouTube and you're following us over on Spotify. Leave us your likes and comments, things like that. Please do. And, of course, join us over in the Discord for chat in between episodes. Ben, where can we find you, buddy, before we go?
You can find me over on my channel, 90% Geek. I will be on and off on videos for the next couple of weeks just because I've got a big project I'm filming that's taking up a lot of time, and that's prevented me from keeping up with the weekly updates, which I normally do.
Nice one.
Is this why you had a new shirt?
This is why I had a new shirt. Yes, this is why my logo over on my channel has changed to me and my shiny new shirt, my new White Dwarf shirt. But this is the big project that I've been working on that is going to be coming out a little bit later on this year, which I hope everyone... I will talk more about once it's actually ready and done.
Si, where can find you, buddy? I know you got a new video out, so
Yeah, usual place on Twitter as Hobby Waffle. Just done a video getting ridiculously excited at Necromunda terrain. Probably
It's
a
a
bit
very
too
cool
much,
video.
to be honest. And then there'll be another Space Marine 2 video coming out once we've had the new reveal on the 20th of June. So I'll cover that one as well.
awesome. Jordan, mate, lovely to have you on. You're a great guest, and some good
Indeed.
chat today. So it was good to have you on for that. Maybe we'll have to have you on again at some point to discuss some lore-based stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
More in your field as well, so that'd be awesome. But where can we find you, buddy?
I'm at Jordan Sorcery everywhere, and here on YouTube, all the social medias. So
Awesome,
easy
awesome.
to find.
Go and check out Jordan because he's got great lore videos and things. I checked out your Lustria video, but being a big Lizardmen fan, so really enjoyed that one. So you can find lots of that with Jordan over there. So yeah. Were you going to say something, Ben? Sorry.
I said we should definitely get Jordan back on. We've talked about this before. We'd like to get you back on to do a Christmas quiz. We want to do like each of us have like a little team or something and have a little Christmas quiz that we can take each other on head to head, and you could be our quiz master.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was an idea we
that'd
actually
be
had. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we'll definitely have to have you back on for that, bud. But thanks for coming on. But as always, guys, thanks for watching and listening this week. Until next week's episode, happy wargaming.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.